This is the fourth video in a series covering 5 of the best new features in Ableton Live 11, which is still in public beta as of the filming of this video, but Ableton has announced a release date of February 23rd. There are a ton of amazing new features in Live 11, but for now we're going to focus on the new enhancements and upgrades to rack macros and follow actions. I'm Brian Jackson, and I'm a music producer, musician, audio engineer, author, educator, and Ableton certified trainer based in Brooklyn, New York. Looking down here in this instrument rack, you can see that I have a wavetable instrument and I have a chorus ensemble. These devices are not inside of the instrument rack. You can see by the level meters dividing the devices. And racks are something that's been around in Live for a while, but in Live 11, they've added a bunch of cool new features. And let's have a look at how I would map something in case you're new to this. So right now I can see I'm using all 8 of the available macros, but in Live 11, we can have up to 16. I'm not going to do all of those right now. Could go all the way down to 1, by the way, if I wanted. So let's just leave it at 10. And then there's a couple ways to do this. I can just right click on a parameter and choose to map it to one of the macros. Another way, which I find very useful, is to click on the map button here. It's not as fast, but then you can set minimum and maximum values, which is very helpful in a lot of situations. And also you can invert values. So you can have a knob mapped to multiple parameters and it can turn one parameter up as it turns another down, for example. But let's just have a look at what I've done here already. So you can see I have a couple of the wavetable parameters mapped. These are indicated by the green dots. And you can also see I have some parameters mapped in the chorus. And then what I did was, with this new variations feature, I just hit new when I found some settings I liked. So let's listen to some examples here. This is the one I first started with. And then here's a variation I made. And then another. Now, how did I make these variations? Well, you can turn the knobs manually and just click new when you find something you like, but Ableton has added this random button. So let's do that. That's kind of cool. So all I have to do is add the variation by hitting new. If I change one of the parameters, I'll get this asterisk here so I know it's changed, and I can just go ahead and launch it. So that is a quick overview of the new macro features that you have in Live 11. Includes the ability to have from 1 to 16 macros, and then the ability to make variations by saving snapshots, and then also having the new random function. Almost forgot to mention, if you right click on a macro, you can exclude it from randomization or from the variations altogether. Randomizing volume is probably not a good idea. As I mentioned in the first 2 videos in this series, Ableton has redesigned the clip view. We looked a little bit at these new tabs in the first 2 videos, but now we're going to focus on the features that are found here when you unfold this triangle. And in particular, we're going to look at follow actions. Now, follow actions are not new to Live 11, but they have updated them quite a bit and added some very requested features. So what is a follow action? Well, right now, if I launch this clip, you can see it says that it will do one of these 2 things 50% of the time. So 50% of the time, it's just going to play again, or 50% of the time, it's going to play one of the other clips. Any and other are basically the same, but any can relaunch itself, and I'm already telling it to possibly play again. Now, one of the big changes, other than redesigning the way these values work, is that we can link or unlink the follow action from the clip length. So what do I mean by that? Right now, this means this is going to play 1 bar and then either play another one or play again. If I look at this one here, is linked to the current loop length of 2 bars, as opposed to this unlinked clip right here. So that means this is always just going to play 1 bar and then do one of these actions. Now, let's say that I'm trying to do some other tasks and I don't want these to keep jumping around. Now, I could just turn off the follow action here, which is also new, which is pretty cool. I can select all of them and turn off all the follow actions in that group. Or I have a global enable or disable follow actions, which is really nice. So let's say I wanted to just play one of these and see if I liked it. It's not going to try to jump around now on me. So let's move on to probably one of the most requested features in Live 11, which is follow actions for the scenes. So if I look down here, now I have this new view that's specifically for the scene. And there was a way to deal with tempo and meter, and it was always done right up on the scene, but now we can get to all that here. But notice I have a number of the options from the clips. Now here, this would always be the equivalent of unlinked, which means that I would have to specify the amount of time. Now you can use this for all kinds of random options, but what I'm planning on doing with this in this particular video is showing you that you can use these scene follow actions to quickly and easily create your arrangement. So let's go ahead and let's record my arrangement into the other view. And I'm not going to have to really do much. Once I launch this intro scene, it's just going to go through the whole thing for me. So let's go ahead and have a look what happens here. See, this is set to play for 4 bars, and then go to the next one. This one is also set to do 4 bars, and then the next one. And now this one is ready to go. This one's going to play for 4 bars, and then go to the next scene. And notice when we get to the break, though, it's going to play for 8. That's because I have some automation on some of the clips. And then it's going to go back here to main 3. And now it's going to play my outro for me, which does not have a follow action set. So I'll stop that manually. And now if I look over here, I have my whole arrangement set for me in a pretty rough way. But all I have to do now is if I want to extend this out, I can just use the duplicate time option, Shift Command D. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And let's say I want to do this a few times, Shift Command D. And let's do this, Shift Command D. And maybe I want these to actually go a little longer. So I'll do that a few times. And I'm already up here to about 3 minutes, and I have a pretty solid rough arrangement in place. So while I was recording from the session view to the arrangement view, I was using an advanced technique with these clips using follow actions to randomly trigger or play different samples that I have loaded up in this instance of sampler. So first, let's hear these sounds. And so what I did here is map the sample select to a macro. And so let's hear the different ones I have. And let's hear this one now. And then let's hear this next one. And we'll go to this one last. So what I've done is told these specific clips to move this knob for me. Now, how I did that originally to get those going was I'm using the new follow action that Ableton added to Live 11, which is the jump follow action. And what this lets us do is specify which clip on that track should play next based on what scene it's on. So this is going to play, and then it's going to jump ahead to this particular one right here. The sample 3 clip is set to go to next or other and is unlinked. You can see these are all pretty much the same. They're all set to play for 1 bar and then either go to the next one or play one of the others. And so what this is doing, it's letting me randomly pick different transition sounds. Now, if you want to know the step-by-step on how I did this using the IEC driver on my Mac, or you could do with a MIDI loopback option on a PC. To get my free guide on how to make MIDI clips act as external MIDI controllers, look for the link in the description. In the next video, which will be the 5th and final one in this series, we're going to look at some highly requested features: take recording and comping, and link track editing. If you enjoyed the content in this video, please subscribe and hit the like button.